That I'm moving out already? We're just about to hit the road. Yep, lightning fast. We'll start hauling our stuff in right after you're off. My brother-in-law, Michael, and his crew seemed to have it all figured out. As soon as we vacated the family home, they swooped in, making themselves at home like seasoned pros. Did we make the right call letting them take over? When I expressed my doubts to my husband, he just chuckled. Relax, let them enjoy their moment. They'll be knocking on our door soon enough. And true to form, a few months down the line, Michael dialed us up in a frenzy. I couldn't help but chuckle at their misplaced confidence. I'm Mary. Joseph and I crossed paths in college. He was a senior, a year my senior. Back then, that gap felt monumental, and Joseph, with his steadfast demeanor, seemed like the epitome of reliability. As my affection for Joseph blossomed, I mustered the courage to confess my feelings to him. Thankfully, Joseph reciprocated, and we embarked on a journey of love. Even as we navigated post-college life and career beginnings, our bond deepened, becoming indispensable to both of us. It was during our 5th year of working together that Joseph popped the question. Excited as I was, I couldn't shake the nerves about meeting his parents. Joseph, your dad is a successful businessman, right? And your mom comes from a well-off family. Will they approve of someone like me? With a reassuring smile, Joseph replied, You're caring and genuine, qualities they'll admire. Encouraged by his faith in me, I nervously introduced myself to his parents. So, you're Mary? We've been eager to meet you. You're just as charming and capable as Joseph described. Has he been causing you any trouble? Oh, not at all. Joseph has been nothing but wonderful to me. Just as Joseph had predicted, both his father, Daniel, and mother, Linda, greeted me warmly, instantly putting my worries to rest. It feels like you've been part of our family forever, they remarked. If we ever had a daughter, she would have been just like you, they added warmly. I earnestly reciprocated to my in-laws. I also consider Daniel and Linda as my own parents. After our wedding and honeymoon, Joseph and I found ourselves in a scramble to secure a new place as our current condo lease was ending. That's when my father-in-law made us an unexpected proposition. Actually, I'll be embarking on an overseas trip for a few months starting next month. It's a rather relaxed assignment, so I had planned on taking my wife along for some sightseeing. How about you two stay in our house while we're away and take your time finding a new place? Really? That would be incredibly generous. Given our struggles in finding suitable accommodation, it was an offer too good to pass up. If you don't find a place you like, you're welcome to stay here, my mother-in-law mentioned, her tone tinged with reservation. That would be wonderful. Are you sure it's all right? You're comfortable with this, Mary, living under the same roof with your mother-in-law? Linda, I consider you a mother figure, not just my mother-in-law. Joseph's family residence is quite grand, boasting multiple rooms. Though not originally designed for dual households, its ample space, guest quarters, and 2 bathrooms made cohabitation comfortable. While there's only one kitchen, sharing meal duties with my mother-in-law proved more enjoyable than cooking solely for 2. Our rapport with my in-laws made the arrangement seamless. Gratefully accepting their offer, we embarked on this new chapter of our lives in Joseph's family abode. After our move, they threw a housewarming bash, extending invitations to all our relatives. You're the star of the show. Just relax and enjoy, my mother-in-law assured me. Yet I found equal delight in catching up with relatives I rarely had the chance to see. Joseph, you've truly found a gem, our relatives would remark each time my mother-in-law and I exchanged smiles. But then, a realization dawned on me. Joseph's elder brother was conspicuously absent. Joseph, the second son, had an older sibling named Michael, just 2 years his senior. While most of the relatives showed up, Michael and his wife were notably missing. Daniel, where are Michael and his wife today? I inquired of my father-in-law. His expression grew somber as he replied, They're fine, don't worry. Detecting my confusion, my mother-in-law stepped in to provide clarification. Michael used to be a regular at these gatherings, but ever since he married Jessica, he's kept his distance. Joseph had hinted to me before about his mother's partiality towards her eldest son, and it seemed Jessica's presence was not well received by her. On that particular day, Michael and his wife were no-shows. Joseph and I sent a housewarming card to their residence. A few days later, I received an unexpected call from Michael. Is Joseph available? His tone was terse. Oh, Michael, Joseph is at work right now. Can I take a message? You're Joseph's wife, right? Mary? Yes, it's been some time. What can I do for you? So, you're staying in the family home, huh? This is a change of address notice. We've moved to my parents' place. Really? Yeah, Daniel and the others suggested it, so we're graciously taking them up on it. When I heard about your housewarming, I couldn't believe you had the audacity to use my parents' home, but to actually live there. That's quite bold. It was evident that Michael harbored resentment towards our living arrangement at his parents' house. Phone conversations aren't enough. I'm dropping by this weekend for a face-to-face chat. Dad will be away on business next weekend. I don't care about Dad. I need to have a conversation with you and Joseph. Well, Joseph might have work commitments too. Seriously, then you'll do. And so, the following weekend, Michael paid us a visit. My mother-in-law appeared overjoyed to have her son home after such a long absence. Mom, you're here too. Of course, darling, of course. I've been looking forward to catching up with you, Michael. I'll be heading to Dad's next week, so I'm glad we could squeeze in some time together. Ah, right, I heard Dad landed a job overseas. Michael responded, his tone lacking enthusiasm, and he shot me a cold look. Since you've got the eldest son here, how about brewing some coffee? Oops, my bad. I apologized, hurrying to prepare the coffee, but Michael sneered. Just coffee. No snacks. You really don't get it. Usually you serve up some sweets too. Apologies, I mumbled as I dashed to fetch some snacks, but Michael halted me. You're not planning on bringing out store-bought snacks, are you? Grab a cake from that place downtown. Remember that for next time. My mother-in-law appeared content with her eldest son's visit and offered no assistance. Mary, could you go pick some up? Michael has always had a soft spot for their cakes. It seemed my mother-in-law wasn't exactly on my side in this matter either. All right, I sighed, gearing up for a trip to the store, only to have Michael add another dinner demand. Whip me up a hamburger steak, and I want demi-glace sauce. Homemade, none of that store-bought stuff. You're sticking around for dinner too. Any qualms? It's your duty as my brother's wife to entertain me. Off I went to the store and straight into meal prep. Despite his claim of wanting to chat, there was no time for conversation amidst Michael's culinary preferences. Just when I thought we could finally engage in some dialogue over dinner, Michael threw a curveball. Why are there 3 plates? Because Linda will be joining us, right? If Mom's here, it's only natural she eats too. The odd one out is you. Odd one out? Yeah, I'd like to have a quiet meal with Mom. There's no seat for you. You can't be serious. After having me slave over dinner, Michael promptly ejected me from the house. I ended up dining solo outside, returning when I assumed the coast was clear. Shouldn't we talk now? I tentatively broached the subject with Michael, who brushed it off, claiming conversation was unnecessary at the moment. What do you mean? I asked incredulously. Jessica and I have decided to take up residence here. You and Joseph will need to find another place to live. But we've already settled in. Isn't it more reasonable for me as the eldest son to stay? Mother-in-law's expression was remorseful as she addressed me. Mary, I'm sorry, but Michael appears to be finally embracing his role as the eldest son. It would bring me peace of mind if he remained here. Upon hearing his mother's words, Michael smirked triumphantly. See, even Mom agrees with me. So pack up your things and vacate the premises. With that, Michael departed in high spirits. Caught off guard, I found myself alone in the bathroom when Joseph returned home from work. What's the matter, Mary? I recounted Michael's ultimatum to Joseph. Michael said that, I can't believe he would treat you like this. Joseph seethed with anger and promptly informed his father overseas about the situation. Following his conversation with his father, Joseph approached me, saying, I'm sorry you had to endure this. Let's find a new place and establish our own home. Empowered by Joseph's support, I began packing our belongings. Just as we were preparing to depart, Michael phoned. Are you finished moving out? We're about to head out. Yes, we're all set. We'll be bringing our belongings over shortly. With that, we departed, leaving Michael and his family to move in as if they owned the place. Did we make the right decision? Watching Michael and Jessica act freely in the house, I couldn't resist venting to Joseph. Don't stress about it. Let them have their way. They'll be the ones facing the consequences down the line. And true to Joseph's prediction, a few months later, Michael called us in a panic. Hey, Dad and Mom just reached out to me. They're on their way back from the airport. What's happening? Isn't it obvious? Their overseas assignment is finished, so they're returning home. I thought they'd be staying there longer. I hadn't heard anything about their return. I thought this house was passed down to us. Our plan was to live together once they returned. You were aware of that when you pushed us out to live here, weren't you? Jessica would never agree to cohabitate with them, but their belongings are still here, right? Where did you think they'd reside upon their return? Michael grew defensive. I assumed they left behind what they didn't need. You sold it. You sold their belongings. Yeah, Jessica suggested we make some money if it wasn't necessary. My in-laws had left behind valuable possessions like jewelry and watches. Selling those items would amount to a significant sum of money. So what happened to the money? I inquired. It's gone. We blew through it like it was a windfall, Michael admitted. And what if they find out? I pressed. I suppose it's just a matter of time, he conceded. Well, then what's the plan? I asked anxiously. Mary, can you come over and lend a hand? Michael requested. Help? Why should I? I retorted. So you're prioritizing Mom's favorite over Jessica, huh? Assist me by shifting the blame onto Jessica. It's the duty of a brother's wife to protect the eldest son, Michael implored. Don't delude yourself. I wouldn't lift a finger for a disrespectful couple like you, I rebuffed firmly. Please, I apologize for everything thus far, Michael pleaded. An apology won't rectify the situation. You should be accountable for your actions. Isn't that the principle of the eldest son? Disregarding Michael's pleas on the other end of the line, I terminated the call. Later, I discussed the matter with Joseph. Joseph chuckled. Indeed, Jessica, who never saw eye to eye with Dad and Mom, would never agree to move back in. Dad even suggested we live wherever we please until they relent and vacate. He's covering all the relocation and rental expenses. I see, Joseph responded calmly despite his earlier anger at Michael's audacity, understanding why he kept silent. I thought if I told you, Mary, you might inadvertently warn them, Joseph explained. Apologies for not speaking up, he added. No problem. I feel much relieved now, I assured him. Michael and Jessica found themselves stranded, awaiting my parents-in-law's return with no alternative housing, depleted savings, and a terminated lease. When my parents-in-law arrived back from their trip, they were livid to discover their belongings sold off. I never imagined you could be so irresponsible. There's no point in trying to reform you. Leave at once. Michael protested, but I thought you were coming back. I thought Jessica and I could stay here. Isn't Mama on my side? Even mother-in-law couldn't defend him. Michael had no intention of residing with us. It was foolish of me to hope for a change. My parents-in-law presented Michael and Jessica with the bills for the jewelry and watches they had sold and promptly evicted them. We can't afford this. We have nowhere else to go. Exactly. I'm not even employed. Father-in-law berated the knave pair. Unbelievable. You squander money you haven't earned. Repayment can't wait for months. Being unemployed isn't an excuse. Find work and start reimbursing. Father-in-law's firm tone finally resonated with them. Jessica took on multiple part-time jobs, dedicating all her earnings to the repayment. Unable to meet father-in-law's monthly installment plan, Michael's salary had to fill a shortfall. Consequently, they now reside modestly in a more economical, smaller apartment. Later, mother-in-law and father-in-law visited the condominium where Joseph and I reside. Mary, I sincerely apologize. I got carried away, believing Michael could reside with us. It's all right. It's all in the past. No, it's not all right. And Mary, I'd like to pose the question to you once more. Would you entertain the idea of living with us? Mother-in-law appeared genuinely contrite. We've always recognized that mother-in-law isn't a bad person. Joseph and I exchanged a glance and nodded. Our decision was made. Absolutely, if Daniel and Linda are agreeable, we'd be delighted to return to the house. We unanimously decided to reunite as a family of 4 under one roof. This experience seems to have deepened the bond between my in-laws and me even further.